Okay, hello again. This is John Ballantrae, and this little video is going to be about the Eight of Cups. And it's in response to a number of people. Some of you may know that I put together the Tarot Home Study course, and that does a video on every card and various other things. But and there's a lot about what cards would mean depending on the question. But one or two people asked for some additional information, and I'm putting together a follow-up course to the basic one that's going to be more about reading cards. So with this one, what I want to do is I'm going to stop talking in a minute, and then I'll show you the first couple of minutes from the video, and then I'll come back and I'll look at some points about how to make sense of this particular card depending on what the question is. So that's my little introduction. I'm going to cut now to the beginning of the video. So I was wondering about what to say, how to begin this, and I thought the point of this card is that somebody is moving away from something. And so that's kind of vague in general, but it does give you the idea that somebody is walking away from something. And we don't know whether the person's happy or sad because we can't see his face. But somehow the darkness, the fact that it's night, and the rocks around, the jaggedness of the rocks, I think it gives me the impression anyway that the person is kind of in a difficult, or moving away from a difficult situation that hasn't been pleasant, but partly because it's dark. But I can see that there have been difficulties, but the person's moving away from them. He's not out of the woods yet, we can say, but he's moving in the right direction, or moving in a purposeful direction, and getting away from things that have maybe held him back. And so I think this Eight of Cups can be seen as a card of improvement and better conditions coming up, because the person's making an effort to get away from, let's say, what's been holding him back. Okay, back to the present, and this is the Eight of Cups again. So I mentioned in the video earlier that this card shows somebody walking away, right? And it's really easy to think, okay, he's walking away, so what, big deal, it doesn't really make that much difference, it doesn't really matter that much. And so I wonder if some people find it difficult to read cards because it's so easy to dismiss simple statements and simple thoughts, because it's as if you're looking for some major revelation or, you know, an earth-shattering truth every time you look at a card. Whereas, as I'm about to show you, I think you can do an awful lot with little ideas and small points. So it's easy to, as I say, to look at this card and think, okay, he's walking away, but so far it doesn't make any difference. But the thing is, with this card, there's movement and there's change happening. So think about that in relation to the question. And I picked out three other cards. Okay, there's movement in this Eight of Cups. There is no movement in this Eight of Swords. There's no movement in this Nine of Batons. There's no movement in this Two of Cups. And so, yes, there's movement here, but no, there isn't movement here. But the lack of motion in these three cards is not the same, because here it's like two people, they're standing still, but they're enjoying the moment, and they're enjoying each other's company. And there's friendship and love and all the rest of it going on between them. And maybe they're imagining a future together. Whereas here, the person's standing, he's not moving, but he's ready to act. So if a threat comes along, he's going to be ready to defend the people in the stockade, for instance. So no, he's not moving. No, there's no change, but he's alert in case there is going to be change. And here in this particular Eight of Swords, you're maybe stuck or you're standing, but so there's no movement, but you're not probably enjoying the experience that much because you're bound and you can't see what's going on. And so your imagination is maybe going to run riot, and you're going to, you hear a noise and you imagine it, and you sort of build it up in your mind into something terrible, even if it's something quite innocent, right? So you kind of, your imagination can run riot with this particular card, even though you're not actually moving. It doesn't matter, because there's all sorts of change going on within your own mind, within your own perception. So my point is, I think when you've got a little thought or a small idea about any particular card, don't think, well, it's just a small idea. See what you can do with it. Spend some time and think about it and see how a simple idea can be applied to help answer a question. And I made a little diagram earlier, and so here it is. Let me just look through the viewfinder. Okay, you can see that. So this, if you remember high school geometry, I was never very good, but okay. This is two intersected lines, and we know, if you remember, that this degree plus this degree equals 180 degrees, right? And that means that this degree and this degree adds up to 180, and that's sort of the basic point. So if you know that, if you know these two little things, or that one little thing, plus the number of degrees in a triangle is 180, right? If you know those two little things, you can put something together, and you were given problems like this. Okay, so we're told this is 100 degrees and this is 45 degrees, but we have to find this angle up here, and that's it. So we know from that. So we know that this must be 80 degrees because 180 equals 180. We know that this 45 degree angle across there is 45 as well. And we add these two up and we get 85, 90, 130. So we know that this must be 50 degrees to give 180. So we know that this must be 50 degrees as well. Right, so we're given these two bits of information and we have to figure out this one. So in the same kind of a way, somebody asks the question, am I going to meet somebody and have a relationship? And you know this and you know this, and you have to figure out this. And so what you do is you put together a little bit of information from the card, a little bit of information from the card, and you put them together and you sort of think about it and you figure out that this must be the answer, 50 degrees, or yes, you're going to meet somebody, or no, you're not going to meet somebody, and this is why not. And this is why you're going to be glad that you didn't, or this is why you're going to be unhappy because you didn't meet somebody. And so there's all these different possible answers, and you get them by sort of like tarot geometry, we could say. Okay, so the thing is, when somebody asks a question like, okay, what should I do for a career, right? You don't turn a card and get something like answer, join the police force. That's not how the tarot works. You don't get statements like that most of the time for a particular card. So you have to go back to the geometry idea. You know this and this, and you have to put it together to get the answer that you want. Or maybe the answer's down here, right? It doesn't have to be up here. So let's say somebody wants to know, well, and we'll still back with this Eight of Cups. Somebody wants to know, let's say it's a woman and she works with this fellow and she wants to know, am I going to have a relationship, a good relationship, a romantic relationship with this fellow that I work with? Okay, so what do you say? You turn the card and get the Eight of Cups, and you say no. And you say no because this is somebody walking away from the situation. So it could be that he turned his back on you, the questioner, or you in the end are going to turn your back on him because he's not quite what you're looking for. Because the card shows somebody walking away, we can say that there's this change in this movement in the answer to the question. And given what the question is, I think the answer would be that no, you, the questioner, are not going to have what you want at the moment or what you think you want at the moment. But at the same time, you've got somebody walking away, so it may be that you're going to meet somebody, but not the person who works in the office next door. In order to meet the person, you're going to have to move, you're going to have to travel. So it may be that you're going to meet him on vacation, right, because that's moving and it's a distance. Or maybe you're going to meet him when you go visiting people. Or maybe you're going to be on the other side of town, it's a few miles away, and that's where you're more likely to meet the kind of person you can have a good relationship with. So we're taking the idea of movement and moving away, and you apply it to the question and you figure out what kind of conditions or circumstances fit or make sense to answer the person's question. So moving away could be vacation, it could be the other side of town, it could be on a trip to visit relatives, whatever it happens to be. But the other thing is, I think it's interesting because people want to know about reverse cards. So are you going to get together with the fellow next door or the fellow in the office next door? The Eight of Cups upside down. The answer is yes, because you're not walking away from the situation, or he's not walking away from you. So when it's upright, there's movement and change. When it's upside down, there isn't movement, there isn't change, and there isn't a desire for something else elsewhere. So am I going to get together with the fellow next door? The answer would be yes. Even though the card is upside down, I think the answer would be yes, because it shows there isn't going to be movement. So the possibility exists to get together with the fellow next door. You're not looking into the distance. He's not looking into the distance. So you're going to notice each other. You're going to see each other because your thoughts are in the vicinity, in the area, and not at a distance. So that was something about the Eight of Cups.